Hey everybody, I'm Tatiana and welcome back to another Lux Business video. In today's video, I'm going to share with you time management skills. So some of you guys know when I first started my business, I didn't have a lot of time. I was going to school full-time, I was working part-time, doing this on the side, and then also maintaining a great relationship and social life. And so you really do need to prioritize consciously making sure that you are aware of how you're spending your time and the time that you do allocate to your business, which is usually on the side when you first start. Make sure that the time you're spending there is important. It's not just doing a bunch of tasks on a to-do list, because you might be checking things off your to-do list, but at the end of the day you feel like you didn't get anything done. And that's the worst feeling, because you're spending a lot of time but you're doing action without purpose, and we don't want that. So today I'm going to share with you a great strategy that I learned from Tony Robbins in his Time of Your Life series called Time Targets. It's very hands-on, and if you click the link in the description, I actually have a PDF that I found online that's going to describe, kind of has it laid out for you what I am going to explain to you in this video. So it's a great resource to have, so click it down below and you'll be directed to a PDF. So one thing I do want to mention before I jump into these time targets is a strategy that I have now. Actually kind of got this idea from the book, The One Thing. And every day, every work day, I start my day by thinking of one thing that would really improve my business the most, that would grow my business the most. So it's not answering emails or phone calls or answering to other people's demands. It's something that I know would really help to just enhance my business, whatever that might be. And so I focus all my time and my attention on that task, and I don't stop until it's completed. And once that's completed, then I can move on to the other things on my list. And anything else after that is just a bonus. So I'm going to jump into the time targets now. Like I said, click the link below if you want to read along while I describe them for you. Alright, so I decided to grab a pen and a paper because I felt like it might be easier if I draw it out for you while I explain it. So Tony Robbins talks about we live in 4 dimensions of time. Everything that we do throughout the day can fall under one of these dimensions. So the first dimension is called the dimension of distraction, where things are not urgent and not important. For example, mindless eating, where you walk over to the fridge, you're not really hungry, but you want to distract yourself. You're eating without your conscious thinking. It's unconscious, and it's really because maybe something's on your mind, something's stressing you out, or you had a bad day, or whatever it might be, and you're navigating to the kitchen. So that is the dimension of distraction. You're just trying to distract yourself. Or an example that I know is sometimes I'll pop onto the TV and I'll watch like a reality show. I'm not a huge fan of TV. I actually don't even own a TV, but I do it on my computer sometimes. I'm not even really listening to it. I'm just like seeing images. I don't want to learn something. I just want my brain to relax. And so that is the dimension of distraction. So there's a lot of things in life that we might be doing that we aren't really aware of, but we're doing it just to distract ourselves. So it's very important that we're conscious of this, because unfortunately a lot of us can be spending most of our time in this dimension, and it's really unproductive and ultimately unfulfilling. So in this dimension, you want to make sure that you're spending no more than 5% of your time here. Another example of this is back in university. I recall reading my textbook and just getting so bored with the content that I would go on my phone and like mindlessly go through Instagram and look at photos and like people's stuff. And it was not because there was a reason for it. It was just because I wanted to distract myself from the textbook. So just be aware of this and spend no more than 5% of your time in this dimension. So the second dimension is the dimension of delusion. So these are things that are urgent, but they're not important. So things, for example, like your emails. My inbox fills up really fast, and when I open it, sometimes it's exhausting just looking at it, and I feel like I have to answer people right away. But the truth is, it seems urgent because they're there waiting for a response, but it's not really that important. I can respond to them 24, 48, 36 hours later, and my life isn't going to end. So I delude myself into thinking this is so urgent, and because of that, I'm not able to really focus on the tasks that are really going to grow my business, because I'm constantly going to be distracted with this stuff that I believe is urgent, but truly it isn't. This also might include interruptions from your colleagues and friends. say you're, at home and you're working, and then all of a sudden your friends call you and say, hey, do you want to grab a coffee? Or maybe somebody calls you on your phone and they end up speaking with you for an hour on the phone. So this is, again, the dimension of delusion. And a lot of us spend a lot of time in here because it's very misleading. We might think that we're being productive. We might think that we're getting really important work done, but we're not. You don't want to spend more than 10% of your time in this zone. The third dimension is the dimension of demand. So this is kind of things that happen in life. Life happens, as the saying goes, and these are things that you can't necessarily predict, but you do your best to predict them anyways. You do your best to be prepared in those situations. So this could be a family emergency. If, God forbid, somebody gets into a car accident, somebody injures themselves, you get sick and you have to take a week off work. Always remember that it's not really the events that happen. Yeah, you might get a flat tire and it might delay you an hour from your work, but if it's going to put you in a sour mood the whole day and you're going to be pissed off and you're not going to be productive at work because you're always in a bad mood, well, that's on you. That's not the flat tire's fault. Nothing in life has meaning except the meaning that we give it. So the last dimension is the dimension of fulfillment, or the zone as he calls it. So the dimension of fulfillment, it's just, they're things that are important, but they're not urgent. So there's no urgency around them, but they're important for your life. Things like spending time with your family, going on a walk, meditating, reading a book, exercising. Some of the happiest people in the world, they spend 70% of their time in this zone. So we want to aim for around 65 to 70% of our time in this zone as well. And it can seem like a big chunk of time, but once you are, really learning about what things in your life are important, you just value them a lot more and find ways to outsource the things that you don't enjoy as much. So if we spend more time in this zone, we'll be able to have more happiness in our lives, have more fulfillment. And by being more happy and more fulfilled, naturally we're going to be doing better work and be more focused at work. So it really does help with your work. It might seem like, well, if I'm spending 70% of my time doing things that are important, I might not have time to do my work. Well, that's not true, because your work might be in that zone. For example, building an online business. Well, in my opinion, that is something that's important. It's not necessarily urgent. I mean, you most likely have your job already that provides you with a stable, secure paycheck every month. So it's not necessarily urgent to build an online business, but it is important because what it offers you is the opportunity to have a business, have something on the side, have all your eggs not just in one basket, have more diversity, build something that you're passionate about, excited about, something that can grow into more, gives you freedom and mobility and the option to travel, and maybe even work less. So I would argue that that's an important thing. Now, having said that, just because building an online business is in the dimension of fulfillment, it does not necessarily mean that all of the tasks on your to-do list are in that dimension. So you're going to notice that in the dimension of delusion, you're going to see a lot of emails, answering phone calls, just attending to other people's schedules and other people's demands. So you want to make sure that you write those in there, and you're only spending 10% of your day in that zone. So if you have only 2 hours to dedicate to your business every day because you're working full time and you've got a family to take care of, 2 hours, then you only want to spend 10% of that 2 hours in the dimension of delusion, only 10% answering emails. You want to spend 70% in the dimension of fulfillment. So 70% doing something that is not urgent, but is important. So remember, this applies for your whole life, but you can narrow it down to make it applicable to just your work, to just your business. So you can really crunch it down. Figure out how much time you're spending in each category as it is, and then find out ways to optimize that. And slowly, it's not going to happen overnight. Nobody's perfect. Slowly, you'll figure out how to manage your time better, and you'll realize that you might end up working fewer hours throughout the week, but getting more done. So without ever having learned what I just taught you, the things that you're doing with your time now came down to the priorities that you had in your life. And for some people, the priority might be to get their nails done. For other people, it might be to finish their work or to record a video. But your priorities actually stem from your values, the things that you value most in life. Do you value your friends over your family? Do you value going on hikes and physical fitness? Or do you value more being book smart? Your values stem from your beliefs. Your beliefs are things that you're very 100% sure about, things that you really truly believe in. Things like, I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe that the earth is round. I believe things that you're sure about. I believe that Canada is the greatest country in the world. I believe, these are your beliefs, but your beliefs actually stem from your references. So your references are the root of everything. Your references are your earliest periods of developing those beliefs. So your references might be conscious or subconscious. For example, if you believe that all men are pigs, it might be because at some point you got burned in a relationship. It didn't end well for you. You had a terrible relationship and you developed a belief based on a reference of one guy that was awful to you. So same thing with my nails. If I prioritize my nails over doing this, then it might be because I had a reference at some point in my life that doing my nails and grooming myself really represented who I was as a person, and it was of utmost priority. And maybe going as far as how I look determines my value. So unfortunately, that's not a great belief to have, but that could be a reference that you had earlier in life that subconsciously got put into the vault, and now that's why you have different priorities, different values, and different beliefs. I hope that this was helpful. So definitely look at your life, kind of see where you're spending most of your time, then look at your work life, see where you're spending most of your time there, and make sure that you're spending 65 to 70% of your time doing in the dimension of fulfillment, in the zone. And you're just gonna lead a life of fulfillment. And also, P.S., the zone is also it can be considered the state of flow. So for some people, the state of flow is basically when your mind is just relaxed. You're not thinking about what you have to do. You're not thinking about what you have to cook for dinner. You're not thinking about anything else except the activity that you're doing. So for some people, this might be surfing. They go out surfing and they catch a nice wave, and it's just like living in that moment, being 100% present in that moment. That's the flow. And I read a book and they did studies and they found that people who live the longest spend a lot of time in the flow. So doing things that they truly love where they're being 100% present. So this kind of relates to being in the dimension of fulfillment. So keep that in mind as well. Any activities that you know put you in the state of flow, those are important activities. Keep those high on your list of priorities. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you want more videos like this, please comment below. If you have any questions, please comment below. And be sure to check out my free training if you are interested in sourcing a product from China. Check it out. Click the link below for how to source a product from China. You'll be added to my mailing list where I also send emails about Amazon and business. So if you just want to be added to my list, click on that link as well. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.